K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
That's right, and JD and Stacey in here right now for Ricky Tikki Tavi Rick Robinson. We're filling in for him while he's at the Southern Leadership Conference. We are very happy to be here on K98 Talk, our new home, where you can find Stacey and I Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On again, and Sunday, 11 a.m., baby, for Bloody Marys and Broadsheets, your cure for that mainstream media hangover, baby. Yeah! We are going to be sitting in the guest chair again for Rick while he's at the Southern Leadership Conference. Boss, thank you very much. We cannot thank you and the K98 Talk family enough for having me and the beautiful Stacey here right now. Is that not right, Miss Lennox?
That is. We are very happy in our new radio home. And apparently, JD, when we broadcasted on Tuesday, we were ahead of the curve.
How do you mean?
Well, people now are just taking notes in the release of the emails this afternoon from the State Department with Hillary Rodham Clinton that she used the wrong email address. We broke that on Tuesday along with the blaze. We must have been the only people talking about it because everyone's in shock.
Well, welcome everybody here to America Off the Rails Radio. JD and Stacey sitting in for Ricky Tikki Tavi Rick Robinson, baby. And as Stacey was saying, there's a whole bunch of H-Rod news out there. You know, for all of you that are new to JD and Stacey, I had a running bet going that Hillary was not going to run for president. I lost a steak dinner to the beautiful Stacey Lennox. And did I or did I not pay?
You did pay. And not only did I order a steak the way it's supposed to be cooked, which is medium rare, I also added a crab cake just for good measure. We've got a second bet going. He's saying Elizabeth Warren will run. I'm saying she won't.
You know, I love the way you made it like to the audience. Oh, you know, and for good measure. Sitting at the table, she ordered it, looked at me and said, because I can. That's
what were you going to do? Parse out the charge for the crab cake? Come on.
It's such a Memorial Day weekend type person.
Yeah.
Tonight we're going to be bringing an interview that Stacey and I just had last week with the irascible, needs no introduction Rep. Louie Gohmert, and this was specifically about his PAC. Everybody in the audience right now, get yourself over to gohconservative.com. It's Louie Gohmert's PAC. He's trying to get some good conservatives elected, 10 in the next cycle, if I'm not mistaken. Correct, Stace?
Correct. And I think the thing that's really important to note is there's been a lot of press about PACs that are not really donating to candidates, maybe not using money as intended. Louie's PAC has a specific goal, and the money donated to that PAC will go to support conservative candidates in races in 2016. And that's really something you could take to the bank.
And anybody who's out there right now, right before, actually, while you're listening to the interview, go to gohconservative.com. Donate $1, $5, $10, up to the max. Or if you can't, even more important, just go over to the page and find out how you can help. You're going to love, well, listen, once you listen to this interview, Louie Gohmert is no longer going to be just Louie Gohmert. He's going to be Uncle Louie. Because Stacey and I basically talk about the PAC, and we just hang out with Louie Gohmert for about 45 minutes, right?
Absolutely. He is one of the most entertaining guests we have had. Not only that, but, super smart. Listen to the story at the end about the House that the legislation that he put forward in the House regarding Gitmo. I nearly was in tears. I had to go on mute.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we give you, needing no introduction, the great rep from the state of Texas, Representative Louie Gohmert. Stacey, it is our great pleasure to bring to the audience who?
Representative Louie Gohmert, one of my favorites.
Moisey, that's right. We are talking the representative from Texas's 1st Congressional District, born in that Pittsburgh, Texas, baby. He also, and I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to thank him personally for his service, served in the United States Army Judge Advocate General's Corps at Fort Benning, Georgia from 78 to 82. Most importantly of all, he attends Green Acres Baptist Church in Tyler, where he has served as a deacon and teaches Sunday school. But everybody in our audience knows him as a fighter, knows him as a truth teller. And today he is here to speak with us about GOH Conservative PAC. Go check out GOHconservative.com. Take that shotgun out, shoot that lock off your wallet, get the Visa card out, and start donating to these candidates. Follow him at GOH Conservative on Twitter. GOH Conservative PAC is recruiting and empowering members of Congress and candidates who will join me to fight for conservative principles. Ladies and gentlemen, Representative from the great nation of Texas, Mr. Louie Gohmert.
Oh, wow, that is quite an introduction. Holy cow. No, that's awesome. Well, thank you. And, yeah, we're up against it. They've got big money in their corner, but we have big numbers of people in our corner, and that makes all difference. But yeah, you mentioned I served 4 years at Fort Benning. They have you fill out a dream sheet, and originally I requested infantry and anywhere in Europe, but mainly Germany. And so instead of Germany, they sent me to Georgia, Fort Benning, Georgia.
Hey, I'm from Georgia. It's all right.
Hey, I love Georgia. I felt so much at home. East Texas is actually an awful lot like Georgia, so I felt right at home.
I'm in New York. I got to move near both of you.
Well,
you need to, unless you just really enjoy paying taxes, and in which case you need to stay where you are, because you're not going to pay as much tax down in Georgia or Texas.
You know what's funny, Congressman? You just brought out of me an announcement for the audience. That's right. The New York command of JD and Stacey and Game On is moving south as of July 1st. I am leaving New York.
Yay!
Wow. How far south?
Right now it looks like it's going to be between Virginia and Georgia.
Oh, okay. So not just to Queens or Brooklyn or something. You're really moving south. Okay.
I'm going over to South Brooklyn. Come on, Congressman. We'll go have some fun, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a daughter in New York City. But yeah, right. And she is paying taxes, so there you go. But really, last Thursday night there was one of our leaders had a big PAC event, and I saw the invitation yesterday, and it said the limit on donating to the Speaker's PAC is $144,000. So, well, that's really encouraging, isn't it? Because most conservative grassroots members do not. I mean, those of us that cling to our God and our guns and our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, our 10th Amendment, our Fifth Amendment, Fourth, all of those good amendments. Normally, we got people that'll donate $25, $50, something like that, but that's what we're up against. And I was just talking to a candidate from California that our leadership decided not to give a dime to her race, and another $5,000, and it made a difference. The Democrats came in the primary and spent massively against her right in the last week of the primary. Well, those are the kind of people we want to help. And my PAC, I got tired of seeing people not get help that needed help, or somebody that stood up to our current leadership just get on the blacklist and not get help. And so we've got this PAC, and if people, I know who's going to be stand up and who isn't, and those are the only people that PAC donates to. And it really helps tremendously if people can see, wow, so there are conservatives like Louie who can help me if I do the right thing and stand up. But I just need people's help. They can send straight to candidates for one thing, but in this town in Washington, D.C., where I got back to today, if you have money so you can support people, then it makes a difference in this town. And I've had people in the past say, Louie, I vote with you, but I got to have our leadership's help in my election or I won't come back. I like to be able to say, well, you'll have mine and all the grassroots folks that will come to your aid. But I got to have financial help to do that, and that's why I got a PAC.
Well, and we certainly saw that in 2014. We saw a Republican primary candidate against Representative Justin Amash, who was a sitting representative for the state of Michigan, that was funded largely from inside the right. We also saw a complete lack of support for Dan Bongino in what was a very winnable race. And now, myself and JD have been trying to assist J.D. Winteregg, who is the only current primary challenger for the Speaker in Ohio 8, and that's an election with national consequences, and we're actually struggling to get him that level of support. So,
you understand the importance.
Absolutely. I mean, talk to me, I guess, a little bit about some of the more recent situations that we've had with the DHS vote where, there were some negative ads about you personally and some other members of the House.
And by the way, the Congressman's speech on DHS funding is February 27th, 2015. Go find it on YouTube. It is a great speech.
Well, it is just tragic what we have done. DHS, we had told people for a number of months, you give us the majority again, you give us the majority in the Senate for the first time in a while, then we are going to stop the president's illegal, unconstitutional amnesty. We're going to fight tooth and nail was another statement by our speaker, And of course, I suspected as soon as they decided to hold back the DHS vote or the DHS funding, that's the kiss of death, because that's a hostage that we cared greatly about, and we cared more than the president did. So that was kind of dangerous. It kind of taking the DHS hostage to try to force the president to stop his illegal amnesty kind of reminded me of that movie with Danny DeVito where he's the rich guy. And two people, one of them is Judge Reinhold, they kidnap his wife.
Ruthless People, what a great movie.
Oh, that's it. I couldn't remember the name, yeah. And they call up Danny DeVito and say, give us all this money or we're going to kill your wife. He says, great, go ahead. Okay, right. And they keep calling back, what's wrong with you people? You said you'd kill her if I didn't give her the money. You'll kill her already. And, that's what I kept feeling like our situation was here with the DHS funding. The president over there going, well, I thought you weren't going to fund the Border Patrol and all those things that would keep people out. Hey, what are you doing? You weren't going to fund that. What's up with that? Just go ahead and take your hostage for goodness sake. Shoot your hostage. But no, the thing you do if you want to your side of a bargain to win, you take hostage the things that the other side cares about.
Thank you.
Let's just defund all the stuff at the White House that doesn't help the country particularly, Let's defund the part of the EPA that wants to shut down businesses that are doing a great job, Let's defund the part of the Park Service that would close the World War II Memorial and spend a lot more closing memorials than they ever spend keeping them open. Let's just defund all those things that he cares about instead of the things that will keep America safe. You don't take the things that keep America safe hostage. That was just crazy. But our leadership caved, and so they got it passed. It was a real tragedy. We didn't, at least a majority did not hold our own Republican leadership as we should have, hold them accountable. But if so many times we've been told, well, there's a tiny group of radical right-wing extremists in the Republican caucus in Congress that has taken the rest of the Congress hostage. Well, y'all, if you look at that vote on DHS funding, the vast majority knew how important it was to stand up for the word we gave to the American people. So you had 167 Republicans in the House vote against the DHS funding because they knew it broke our word, and 75 voted as the Speaker wanted them to, and I can guarantee you there were a number of those 75 that represent conservative districts that voted as they did because the Speaker wanted them to. So when you look at those numbers, over 167 and somewhere less than 75 on the other side, then what you figure out in a real hurry is that somewhere between a third and a fourth of the United States House Republicans represent, actually put it this way, over two-thirds up to at least three-fourths represent very conservative districts. Maybe a fourth, maybe just over a fourth represent moderate districts. So what you find out when you look at that DHS vote is that actually it is a very small group of moderates that's got control at the very top of our party here, and they have taken this vast group of representatives that represent conservative districts. They have taken control over the Congress instead of the other way around. It's not a small group of right-wing extremists. It's just that most of the Republicans in Congress represent very conservative districts, and they haven't been allowed to properly represent them since our current Speaker took office as Speaker.
Now, we're speaking with Congressman Louie Gohmert. I could tell you that he's from Texas's 1st Congressional District, but I don't have to, because if you're listening to this show and you're in the grassroots movement, you know who Louie Gohmert is. You want him to come to your house and have dinner. But more importantly, before we go forward, everybody right now go over to gohconservative.com, take the shotgun, shoot the lock off the wallet, baby, and go over there and find out how to donate, because I want to bring this back to a point, Congressman, I think it's so important in what you said. And basically, you seem to be, and the work that your PAC is doing, seems to be one of the first representations of understanding on the right that the left has weaponized politics. And by the way, not only is Congressman Gohmert fighting the good fight, he may have made the best political analogy to Obama hostage-taking and ruthless people in the history of political science, but that's completely different. You seem to understand that the left has weaponized politics, and they've weaponized dissent.
They have.
And to this point, this administration has weaponized departments. So being that Stacey and I are so excited when we hear somebody like you in representative leadership who understands that this is a street fight, that if they bring a knife, we bring a gun, because at the end of the day, it's about winning. Please explain to people why this PAC is so important and how they can help it. What I see as a goal here is to elect 10 conservative members of Congress in this election cycle alone, correct?
Yep, absolutely. And there were some that thought, including some newspapers in Texas have said, well, Gohmert had this grandiose idea that he could be Speaker, and he only got 3 votes, and one of those was his own. And actually, I knew when I announced for Speaker that it would make so many people angry in the House because I took away their excuse, and that's Thomas Massey and Jim Bridenstine from Oklahoma were the two that first said, Louie, you have got to announce for Speaker. And I said, guys, if I do that, then all of the establishment, coupled with all of the Obama media, will come after me and being this right-wing crazy guy. And thank you for understanding that I'm not any more crazy than the founders were. But anyway,
if that's crazy, then count me in.
But I knew that's where it would go, and they said, yeah, but we're running into the same excuse we did 2 years ago. Most Republicans told their constituents, when constituents would say, we want you to vote for somebody else besides Boehner, they would say, look, I would, but nobody else has announced. And if there's no announced candidate running against the Speaker, then I'm just throwing my vote away for nothing, which means I don't get the committee that helps people back home or the chairmanship. So if somebody had announced, I would vote for them. So Jim and Thomas were saying, look, you've got to announce. And I said, well, if somebody else will announce first, then I'll do it. And then Ted Yoho was on the conference call from Florida, and Ted said, well, if announcing today will get you to announce tomorrow, I'll send out a press release this afternoon saying I'm announcing for Speaker. And I said, well, that would do it. Dan Webster may announce Monday or Tuesday, and then we can show it's not about Gohmert, it's about new leadership. And so the idea was, if all of the members of the House were present and voting, if we got 29 people, Republicans that is, to vote for somebody besides the Speaker, then that would throw it into a second ballot for the first time since 1922. Since to win as Speaker, you have to have a majority of all of those on the House floor voting for an eligible person. Well, an eligible person is basically any adult American citizen could be Speaker. You don't have to be in the House. And so after I announced, I started telling guys, look, Speakers matter to me than anybody, so vote for Yoho, vote for Webster, vote for anybody else. I don't care. We need 29 people voting for someone else. And we get to 29, then that throws it to a second ballot. Then we'll have a group of us ask for an emergency Republican conference down in the basement.
Congressman? You for a few minutes.
Oh, gosh. Well, I was talking about the Speaker's race. I wonder if somebody called priority and shut down my phone for a bit. But anyway, glad I'm back.
Well, no.
Anyway.
I'm glad. Stacey, why don't you tell the congressman how well we understand what he was saying about the Speaker election, how it works, and why you and I understand that so well?
Because we actually covered the Speaker election live, lamented the fact that there was a certain high-profile Democratic funeral that day because we figured that kind of impacted things a little bit. And literally some folks that I had really liked and respected in the House of Representatives, when they cast their vote, I literally put my head in my hands.
And we called Congressman. Honestly, we did an hour of radio like we were at the track. And we're like, okay, Ben's got 19 votes, but right now, Gohmert's got 2. And I mean, we really did. And we had a list of who voted, why they didn't vote. I mean, I know that you speak to your representatives in your district, but you have to understand something nationally. One thing Stacey and I have learned about radio, there are more people than you would think that were vested in that and literally watching that as a horse race, understanding the implications of what you were doing.
They understood all of that. That's awesome. Well, then let me tell you, since you understand all of that, I had a number of people, several people that told me, look, I will vote for somebody besides the current Speaker if all these freshmen that pledged that they would vote for somebody besides the Speaker do what they promised. And so we could have easily had 40 to 50 votes if all of the freshmen that were elected in November 2014 who pledged that they would vote for somebody else had kept their pledge.
Right.
And after a number of the, I guess maybe 3 or so of the freshmen who had pledged in writing that they would vote for somebody besides Boehner voted for Boehner, one of the guys that made that promise, look, if all of those guys keep their promise, then you should be close and I will vote with you. But if they're not keeping their pledge, I'm not throwing away my position, for a failed effort. And after, I guess it's probably the 3rd freshman that pledged that he would vote against Boehner, voted for Boehner. He was sitting close to me on the floor. He just got up from his chair and said to me, this is disgusting. This new freshman class is even weaker than my class was. And walked off the floor. And he ended up, of course, voting for Boehner because they didn't know. But I'm telling you, we could have easily gotten 40 or 50 if people that had promised in advance to vote for someone else had. But anyway, the leadership has a lot of power. And they can make calls the morning of the vote. And as I was told, say, okay, I got to have your vote. What have I got to do to get your vote? was told, hey, Louie, I'm not going to be voting with you guys, but I wanted you to know that Boehner's promised me something really good for the country, and I wouldn't have been able to get that promise if not for you guys. So just no matter how the vote comes out, just know you got some really good stuff for the country. Well,
or at least for their district, right?
You're like the house. You're like the house confessor. People just come up and tell you things. Oh my God, Congressman, listen, they'll have my hide, but I really want to vote for this.
Well, and you kind of have to wonder how many of those promises actually came to fruition. But aside from that,
and actually, I already know there's a few that haven't. So I can tell you.
Well, that's called buyer's remorse.
We keep an enemies list, Congressman. No problem.
But
you've got to be able to trust the person making the promise. And if the same guy's promising you certain things is the same guy that said we're going to fight tooth and nail and stop the president's amnesty, and we're going to repeal Obamacare, if that's the same guy, then you need to really carefully weigh what you're being promised.
Right. Well, Representative Gohmert, just on a final note, we did see some articles this week about a number of PACs that are out there on the conservative side that may not be living up to their promises, that are, getting email addresses and peppering people. Mm-hmm. Can you just explain to the audience the difference between those PACs and the one that you have started, please?
Oh, listen, I've seen emails, solicitation emails with my picture. At least they use nice pictures, as good as you could, of me, but saying, we got to help Louie Gohmert stand up. And they did the same thing to Alan West and Sarah Palin and lots of people. In fact, if Alan had gotten all the money that people actually gave trying to help him, then he would probably have won re-election. But there were so many people that gave, thinking, gee, if they're using Alan West's picture, if they're, using Louie Gohmert's picture, well, I'm sure that they would have to make sure they get the money. Well, we've raised Cain with one of those groups, and they started sending small contributions. I haven't cashed them because I don't know how many contributions they've gotten in my name, but we raised heck with a lawyer against them, and now they're, funding a little dribble here and dribble there, but they raised a tremendous amount of money emailing conservatives saying, you got to help this person. Well, I need help. Alan West needed help. There are a lot of, Sarah Palin needed help, but they weren't getting the money that was being raised to so-called help them. So listen, if you want to help me, then you can give to Louie Gohmert for Congress or gohconservative.com. Those are the two things that I have control over. I have I have the say in. So if you want to help, those are the two things that will help me help others who are willing to stand up. Otherwise, if you see my picture on something saying, let's help Louie Gohmert, it isn't coming to me.
And folks, and for those of you who don't have the ability to give anywhere from $1 to 10,000, whatever it is, for those of you who don't have the funds because we're in the Obama economy, go follow the PAC on @GOHconservative on Twitter. Take your time, monetize your time, get the message out that way. Because everybody in the audience right now, if you want to think if this is a worthy PAC, if Congressman Gohmert is spending his time in the right places, let me tell you about a couple of their goals. Reestablish national security and defense standards, balance the budget, repeal Obamacare, secure the borders, defend the First, Second, and 10th Amendments, stop corporate welfare and bailouts, and protect human life. And if you want to hear it in his own words, if you oppose President Obama's illegal executive amnesty and support principled conservative leadership, I need your immediate help. I pledge to you that I will never back down when it comes to defunding the U.S. Constitution, our country, and that includes securing our border without offering benefits from Social Security they did not pay into, tax refunds when they paid no tax, free health care more avoidable than it is to our veterans, and driver's licenses that state and federal law prohibit issuing. That's right, folks, a representative of the United States House of Representatives that understands he represents not only his district, but every damn one of the 330 million people in this country. Congressman, we can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you. And just a heads up, something's going on right now that we're apparently going to vote on sometime this week. is a reauthorization of the Patriot Act, Section 215 and others, called the USA Freedom Act. Now, I can tell you there are some real improvements to that. There really are. But back in 2005, I'd just gotten here to Washington, and having been a judge and Chief Justice, I had some faith and confidence in U.S. district judges, not the Supreme Court, but U.S. district judges. They're going to make sure that due process is afforded and you can't go get information unless it's appropriate. And then we saw, when I saw the order that was signed by a FISA court judge, U.S. district judge, saying, Verizon, give the U.S. government every bit of information on every single phone call, every customer you have. I went, holy cow, where's the specificity that the Constitution requires? There's no limit. This is incredible. So I lost hope in the federal judiciary being the safeguard to protect our rights. So this time around, thank God that I fought so hard for sunsets back in 2005, that is. But anyway, Section 215 is coming up again, and we're told, and this continues to be the mantra, look, but this time we have a panel of lawyers, and their whole job will be to protect individual interests of Americans, their constitutional rights, even though they don't know that their, phone calls or emails or something might be coming up for examination, they will protect their privacy. Well, that's all well and good, but I'm anal enough. I actually read that bill too, and I saw that there was a provision that actually says, there's this group of panel of lawyers called the amicus curiae. They're friends of the court, and they will watch out for people's interests. But it also says, basically, if the court is convinced by the government that this is a particular area coming up where they should not advise the amicus curiae lawyers about it, then it's okay to keep them in the dark. Well, how many times do you think that loophole is going to be used?
About 11.
11.
Holy cow. I mean, we have got to stop leaving these massive loopholes for the government to keep driving trucks through as they gather up our private information. It's got to stop.
I got a call last week, right? So I pick up the phone, and they're like, Mr. Dombrowski. I'm like, yes, and this is your address? Oh, yes, They say, okay, you're 92 days, you're 19 days past due on your cell phone bill, and and this text message and that data plan. Only it wasn't Verizon. It was actually the NSA.
Well, and
that's good. You had me going.
Well, and if this continues down that path when it gets to the Senate, I'll look forward to another Rand Paul filibuster.
Well, I don't know what to expect anymore when the Iran bill passes 99 or 98 to 1. I mean, God bless Tom Cotton, but I'm just concerned about going from the constitutional requirement of 2/3 to ratify a treaty, going to 1/3 to ratify a treaty. I mean, that doesn't exactly seem to be upholding our end of the Constitution.
No,
I just have problems with that.
You have a great video post about how people are treating the Supreme Court as their new form of deity.
Yeah, they are. Well, they are. It really is. They're the new God. And I got so upset back when, I'm sorry, but it's the laws of war. It's outside the Geneva Convention when people like radical Islamists don't wear a uniform, don't have a country that they proclaim to be fighting for. They're not entitled to the Geneva Convention. But even so, we treat them far better than Americans have been treated as POWs. But the tradition of civilized warfare of civilized countries like the U.S. has been that if somebody is at war with you and you capture them alive, then you hold them until all of their friends say, we're no longer at war with you, and then you can let their people go back so long as they have not committed a crime against humanity. If they have, then you hold them and charge them and go to trial on a war crime. But otherwise, you let the POWs or the enemy combatants go home. Well, that's what we were doing, and the Constitution allows that. And in fact, in a case called Hamdan, the Supreme Court came back and said, and I thought they didn't write the opinion very well, but they got to the right conclusion. The Bush administration had put together a military tribunal, a military commission to try enemy combatants. Well, the Constitution under Article 1 leaves that to the Congress. So I thought they came to the right result. No, you don't have to give writs of habeas corpus to enemy combatants. You can hold them so long as Congress sets up a proper safeguard for them. And we did that. And I was part of that. We did that. In the Military Commission Act of 2006, the detention DTA back in 06. So those were things that we followed the Supreme Court on, and then they came back with a case called Remedian where they said, you know what, you do have to give writs of habeas corpus, and that was before John Roberts went nuts on Obamacare and we lost him as a principled, a man of principle. But in that decision, he actually said in his dissenting opinion that we told Congress that they're entitled under Article 1 to set up these commissions that don't have to provide writs of habeas corpus to foreign enemy combatants. And now they've done exactly what we told them to, but we won't take yes for an answer. And it was terribly offensive that the Supreme Court did what they did, and they came back basically saying you're going to have to try these people in court. And what it says, anybody that's been in the military knows, and I was never in combat, but I still had enough training to know, you can't send a forensic team out on the battlefield to say, excuse me, y'all stop shooting long enough. I need to get some blood here. I need to take fingerprints. I need to get ballistics on this bullet. You can't do that. That's why you hold enemy combatants until their friends say they're no longer at war, and then you let them go. But anyway, that caused me to file a bill that was a message bill, just how outrageous the Supreme Court was. I filed a bill that said, look, in essence, there's construction fences around the Supreme Court during the remodel job, so we're going to harden those into security fences and bring all the Guantanamo detainees up to the Supreme Court grounds. And since the Supreme Court wants to micromanage, their care and treatment, it will allow them to do that. When you're using the same restroom and eating facilities, you get a lot better view on how people should be treated. So if they want to micromanage, something like that, let's facilitate it. But so sometimes you just try to send a message. You guys are way outside the Constitution, way outside the bounds of civilized warfare. And, in the meantime, that sometimes allows people to call me crazy. I wasn't crazy at all. I just know what's right and what's wrong.
Two things before we let Congressman Louie Gohmert of GOHconservative.com, the PAC that is bringing true conservatives back to government. Please, folks, get over there, check it out, help how you can, make sure that you donate. There were two things that popped into my head that when you were giving that answer. Number one, are you restricted from being a co-host on radio at all? Because you were the best thing to happen to radio since Mark.
Oh, no, I'm sure not. In fact, Sean Hannity's a friend. He's had me actually host by myself his show 5 times or so, and I've co-hosted a number of shows. So
you got to come. You got to come on and give. You have to come on.
Well, all you got to do, all it takes is an invitation.
Oh, open,
wonderful,
open and standing. And for the love of criminy, will you please put together an exploratory committee and run for president at some point?
Oh my gosh! Now look, that was sarcasm. My friend Ted Cruz had just announced that day, and all of a sudden we start getting calls saying, "Hey, why didn't Gohmert endorse his friend Ted Cruz?" I'm being snarky. I'm sorry. I get sarcastic at times, and people around here do not appreciate sarcasm. They don't recognize it.
Oh, we do.
And so anyway, so I said, well, just tell them I haven't ruled out, launching an exploratory committee myself. Guys, we're not going to elect another bald president in my lifetime.
Don't tell John LaRosa.
Well, Biden understood that. That's why he had the hair transplants, But I'm not doing hair transplants, which means also, there are people in the House and Senate that, as the old saying goes, they wake up in the morning and see a future president in the mirror. That's not me, because I know we're not going to have another bald president. 1960 Kennedy Nixon debates, that's the line of demarcation. TV is all important. You don't have to be smart, but you got to have hair. And so some of these guys in Washington here, before they give an answer or take a position, they think, I wonder if this will hurt me when I run for president someday. Y'all, I don't have that governor. I don't have to worry about that. I can go ahead and say what I believe and not worry about it hurting me for president someday, because I'm not going to be president someday. So it's a freedom I enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Louie Gohmert, describing the Obama administration as Danny DeVito in Ruthless People. God, this was the best half hour in radio, I think, since it was invented. Congressman, we can't thank you enough. Everybody get over to GOHconservative.com and donate, and I really hope you consider coming back again, Congressman.
Well, absolutely. You guys are just absolutely wonderful. And I'm bad about not mentioning my own website, my own PAC.
Get it out there.
You've been fabulous. You've done what I'm talking. You got to get the website out there, GOHconservative.com. And GOHconservative.com. You got it out there over and over, even though I didn't. So you're the awesome one. Thanks so much.
I'll be at the office for the new job tomorrow morning, Congressman. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just wonderful talking to you.
Have a good
Thank
evening,
you.
sir.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes and... listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works. President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before. Did someone say green? Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind? Now, do you say good things about me on the show? No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much. The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation. Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo? I got a pen. I can veto that, you know. I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it. Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either. That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hungover from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
For our own cause, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all the laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, bless you, pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets cause it's no longer free. You cannot make a move now that the NSA can see. Don't expect equality, respect for fair play. The IRS will target those who vote the wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the place.
Welcome back to America Off the Rails Radio. JD and Stacey sitting in for Ricky Tikki Tavi Rick Robinson right now here on K98 Talk. Get yourself over to K98Talk.com right now. Check out the catalog of all the great shows. You got Sam Janney, Politibunny. You got Jason DeWilkins, According to Me. Stacey, the amount of great content on this station is unbelievable, is it not?
Yes, it is. We certainly have some great team members and a lot of people giving a great conservative message, and hopefully in a way that's a lot of fun.
And Moisey, how much? Okay, so for anybody who's never done a media avail interview, so this interview wasn't just supposed to be Stacey and I and Louie Gohmert hanging out and everybody talk about their favorite chili recipe. It was specifically because Louie Gohmert is running this PAC, GOHconservative.com. Everybody get over there, donate if you can. If not, volunteer your time. It's basically like it's like the United Way. So instead of donating to some moronic asshat of a political candidate who's not going to get reelected, go donate to Louie's PAC, and they'll make sure they steer it towards real conservatives. But there's no steering him anywhere. However, my thought after that interview, Stacey, is that D.C. needs more people like him.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if part of it is, I think number one, his passion around the Constitution and some basic, good conservative values. And the other part of it is, I think Louie also views himself as a servant for the district that he's in. He doesn't hold ambitions of, necessarily moving to the Senate or holding higher office or being part of an administration. His goal is to represent the folks in his district in Texas. And I think, if we had more representatives who had, or senators who were service-minded that way and really took their constituents seriously in terms of their positions and their take on the issues, I think Congress in general would function a lot better.
And I think he's a personal hero to everybody in the audience because he ran against...
Congratulations! You're a mother!
And going forward, while we're here at K98 Talk, going forward, anytime you hear that from JD and Stacey, you know we're referencing who, Stacey?
John Boehner.
And then I haven't got the cut yet, but whenever you hear Magoo, that's McConnell.
Yep.
But if you take a look, we were speaking last night on the Game On show about Marco Rubio having, this disappointment where he's aligned himself right now with basically the establishment and everybody else in regards to issue du jour that it wasn't trade. Oh, this was the filibuster, correct?
Well, it was actually Section 215 of the Patriot Act. He's supporting keeping that metadata collection as the force of law, and I was shocked.
No, but you want to know something? This is the point that Representative Gohmert made, and that's the whole point of the PAC itself, is that I think that everybody, look, if you're listening to K98 Talk and you're listening to the shows and the contents on here, you're a political junkie. Politics is porn. That's fine. That's why Stacey and I do this as well. I mean, you're interested. You're invested. But you really, I think we're getting consulted to the point of everybody's looking about who can win. How about principles? How about something to stand on? We made the point again last night about Rand Paul. You don't like Rand Paul? Fine. Then make an argument about why you don't like him. Because, love him or hate him, he stood on the floor in the Senate yesterday for 10 hours to defend his position. And that's what Gohmert and that's what this PAC is doing. They're really going after conservative, real true grassroots, heartfelt conservatives. J.D. Winteregg's a great example. Correct, Stacey? Tell the audience about him if they don't know.
J.D. Winteregg is actually the declared primary challenger for John Boehner in Ohio 8. That is an election with national consequences. If you're not happy with the leadership, please go look at jdwinteregg.com. JD, winter is the season, egg, like what you eat.com, and check him out. He's a young millennial, passionate, and, is very frank about the fact that if Boehner's rhetoric matched reality, he'd vote for him and he'd be 100% supportive of him. Point is, he campaigned on things he's just not doing, and that's no longer good enough.
And we're talking about people, folks. We're not talking about lifetime candidates. Winteregg is a professor. He had worked in a grain elevator. And, this is the best part about these guys. You got Rand Paul talking about term limits. The kind of people that Gohmert and four-tier strategies are bringing out there to come run in this cycle are the kind of people that they're such average, everyday people and not your inside the Beltway Washington pals that once you speak to them and you understand what their positions are, go talk to their campaign people for the donations. Do you know what I'm saying? We finally have people running for office who really just want to make some reforms and not necessarily delve into the minutia of all the back-end nonsense, right?
Well, and I think, too, the point that Louie made during the interview is very, very important. A lot of these guys go in it for the right reason, but by the time they get to Washington, they already owe somebody something because they've gotten money from the Republican National Committee or they've gotten money from the establishment somehow. I think what Louie's really trying to do here is give these freshman representatives and senators a free and clear to stand on their principles. You don't owe anybody anything. We supported you because we believe you have the right ideals.
We have had the opportunity to get to meet one in person and speak to two pretty personally in depth of Texas congressmen at this point. That's Steve Stockman and Louie Gohmert. Do you come away with the same feeling that I have, that if you could rub a genie lamp, let's just go to Texas because they really have okay, my congressman for the majority of my life growing up here was Peter King. Okay, that's what I got. I got Peter King. I got Chuck Schumer as a senator. I had what's that
Moynihan.
Yeah, Chairman Mao running for president right now. Hillary was one of my come on. Get me to Texas.
Get on a plane, my friend. The whole state of New York electing Hillary as senator when she lived there for like 24 hours. That's actually why I left.
No, but you want to know what? Texas embraces people like this. And for JD and Stacey fans that are just getting acclimated, that means Hillary's coming. Now, just so you don't get confused, this is Liz Warren.
And really, if you listen to the show, you'll get a pretty clear idea of the type of presidential candidates we support because they don't have sound effects.
Right, but we're also, listen, we're also open. We're letting these guys make their case.
Mm-hmm. No, we were done with Jeb when he first started talking about running, and we're done with Lindsey Graham. He doesn't have a case to make.
Done with who? The first
Lindsey
one?
Graham.
Oh, Lindsey Graham. That's right, folks. Lindsey Graham.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
And just so you know where JD and Stacey and I stand on Jeb Bush.
Stay out the bushes!
That's like our most favorite one so far. Our most famous. People like it the best.
That's really like our where's the beef, is it not?
Yeah, pretty much. We're thinking about having T-shirts made.
Oh, my good Lord. I want to thank everybody who gave Stacey and I the hour to let us stand in for the legendary Ricky Ticky Rick Robinson on America Off the Rails Radio. Rick is going to be back live with you guys on Monday after he wraps up from that Southern Leadership Conference. Just a little teaser. I talked to the boss, and he's got some cool interviews coming for everybody else in the audience. Stacey, girl, say goodbye to everybody.
Have a great Friday night.
Oh, have to. Well, actually, we're not going anywhere just yet because just like with everything, it's a work in progress. Listen, catch Stacey and I 11 a.m. Eastern Time this Sunday on Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. Comedian Evan Sayette, Judith Miller, Mary Catherine Ham, Guy Benson coming up. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks, Rick.
Both did everything you earned by breaking your backs. We're gonna redistribute when we make our pay tax. Hey, sit down.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.